Hello, 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 everybody. It's Deidre right here. And I just thought, you know what? I'm about to be interviewed in a couple hours or less than a couple hours. And I know sometimes people are curious, Deidre, how do I speak? What do I write about? What do I talk about? So I thought maybe I'll take you behind the scenes of my process in real time to show how I prep for speaking opportunities, especially interviews. Obviously, keynotes and speeches are a little bit more in depth, and maybe we could do that later if you're interested. But the key thing right now is if you're going to be speaking live or interview as an expert in your space, how to prepare for that. So if you're interested or have any questions, definitely drop me your questions and comments. But I'm going to take you around my process. So basically, let's talk about this. So I'll be speaking on Instagram Live with one of my business buddies, actually Ang Loon. I met them a couple years ago when I first started side hustling, and we were accountability buddies. Now that they've been having their coaching business, which is actually centered around helping LGBTQ people of color, help them express themselves through writing. So what I'm going to talk to you about that on the platform. Oh, Chris, Idris, incredible thought leader on this. Thank you. And I'm going to talk on the platform about is how to brand your story, branding your story. So the idea is to equip her audience, which are LGBTQ people of color who want to express themselves, their emotion and trauma, and heal that through writing. I'm going to teach them how to brand their stories, because the key thing, a lot of us have our own stories. Sometimes we're afraid to share them. Sometimes we have powerful stories that can change or transform people's lives. We don't know how to put together the words or brand that, and to go from trauma or go from challenge to triumphant, and position ourselves as a leader in our space. So that's the whole idea. I want to equip our audience with tools to brand their stories. So what do I first think about when I'm writing a speech? First thing I do when I tell clients is to think about their goal. What is the purpose of this opportunity? Like I tell you guys, I will always say this: branding is for goals, not for vanity. I'm not speaking on their platform to pump my chest or just make my head bigger. I'm going there for a purpose. So what is my goal? My goal is to grow my audience. I'm hoping by leveraging Ang's platform, I can grow my audience to those who would be interested in my products and services, maybe refer my business, but I want to grow my brand around that. So that's my goal. Once I decided my goal for my speaking opportunity, I think about second, what is my call to action? A call to action is basically the next steps you want your listener to take after hearing you speak. So sometimes you'll see this on shows or things to do, like, hey, if we're interested, click the box to learn more. Or sometimes you'll hear people say, book a call with me to talk about your goals. A call to action is basically a set of instructions and next best steps you can take to better engage, better grow. So I'm thinking about, okay, I know my goal is to grow my audience. My call to action, what's that going to be? My call to action is at the end of when I'm speaking, I'm going to tell people to join my community, become an industry celebrity. It's my Facebook community where I give people tips and resources and house all of these lives and all this information in one place so people can watch it on demand and grow on their own timeline. So that's going to be my call to action. So when I'm planning, I have a huge technology thing I use to plan my speeches, which is an index card. High tech, I know. Index card, pen. This is what I use. I know, very mind blowing. Bing! But this is what I do because I can ramble. If you can't tell, one thing I can do is talk up a storm. So I try to make sure I combine my thoughts to one index card. And the only times I use multiple is if I'm doing live speaking and I'm standing and I'm talking and I want to have different points or things I want to hit on. But typically with things, I like to keep it to one because it helps me stay on track and not basically say words that are unnecessary. It's a lot more easier when you confine your thoughts to what are like my major points that I want people to walk away with, so that I feel like they're leaving with value and nothing else. Jay Nicole said index cards are tried and true. They sure are tried and true. And I'm telling you, you will collect your thoughts better if you have that. So now that I have my goal, which is community building, and second, I have my call to action, which is join my community, become an industry celebrity. Now I think about how to reverse engineer the goal. If my goal is to grow my community and get people to my actual community within Facebook, I have to think about why would they want to. So what I do is I reverse engineer through my talking points why that would be of value to them. Because like I said, branding's for goals, not for vanity, and branding is for value. I don't want to ever be talking or do anything that's not going to give value to my audience. Otherwise, why waste my time and why waste yours? Frankly, you could be doing other stuff, watching Netflix, chilling, and whatever. So I always like to leave it value. So that's what I think about. So if the topic of the conversation is branding your story, and I want people to join my communities to engage and build that, I'm thinking what are the key things people need to do to brand their story? One is to clarify their story. That's the first thing I would start with my talks. I'm going to write it down. So step one is, clarify your story. Why is this important with branding your story, to clarify your story? You can't brand something you don't know exists. You can't brand yourself as somebody if you don't know your story. Some people know my story and I tell it, hey, I was in corporate grinding away, got burned out, got frustrated, dealt with some discrimination, dealt with some challenges, challenge my frustrations to activism, and that way of just using my volunteer time to promote diversity, equity, inclusion. And from that helped me brand myself and elevate my career in my industry. I took those personal brand skills, and what happened is people saw out my mentorship, and so I turned my passion, my skill set into a side hustle, which became my full hustle once my job was eliminated. And so I kind of have a story of what I do, but what the key thing with my story is I always do two things: problem solve, communicate solution. So I always make that around my story. But you heard a couple different things. Hey, Shanisha, so true, clarity. And I say that because if we don't start with clarity, it's hard to tell a story you're not clear on. If you're not fully owning your story, you shouldn't be telling it, because we all have histories and we all have testimonies, some days more than others. And so if you're not clear on what your story is and you're not going to own your story, you shouldn't be telling it nowhere. So first step is clarify your story. Okay. When I think about the next thing with, branding your story, I would think the next thing is the next step I would say with owning your story is to clarify your story and then clarify your audience. Why does that matter? Clarifying your audience. If you're telling your story to an audience that doesn't appreciate it, you probably are in the wrong place. Point blank, period. You should go somewhere where people appreciate your value, appreciate your story, appreciate your testimony. So I would say, once you got to clarify within yourself your story and own that value, own that journey. And then two, clarify your audience and know who's the right people you need to be talking to be of service. I know that my story is very, it resonates with people who've been through the same things like me, who've grinded in corporate and felt devalued, have been passive for promotions, knowing that they're actually more capable, and have someone who's a blockhead get a promotion over them and then be told, hey, can you train me on X, Y, and Z? I'm like, if I'm training you on X, Y, and Z, why'd you get promoted? Because they didn't know their story and promote their value and promote their personal brand. So people really resonate with me who've been there, done that, who've been on the same journey as me. So that's why I say second step is clarify your audience. So I'm writing that out. I do write chicken scratch, so bear with me, but that's what and I'm telling you, this is how simple it is. This is my simple process for writing my speeches. Y'all see me talk, this is what I do. Then the next best step, for clarifying your story, clarify your audience, I would say clarify your branding tools. Why is that the next best step? Because now that you know your story, you know your audience, you got to decide what is the best mechanism or tool or solution to get to tell your story. There's so many different ways you can do it now. Obviously, social media is one, and there's different social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Clubhouse, my house, your house. There's a lot of places right now you can do it. You don't need to be everywhere. So the cool thing about step two, which is clarifying your audience, by knowing who your audience is, it's best to know where they're at. I know, for example, I know a lot of my audience professionals, whether they're executives or entrepreneurs. So me being on LinkedIn is a good place to be. And also me being on Facebook, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners are on Facebook. So once you know that, so I know, okay, I figure out my branding tools. And then the thing about that is other ways you can understand your branding tools, whether do I want to do live speaking? If y'all will notice anything going forward, I'll be doing a lot of live speaking. Why? Because to me, it's easy. I rather put a camera on and start talking and giving tips than create a graphic or write an article. I can write, but I would rather not to write. I rather not write. So that's why I'm doing video. So I say that because for some people, oh, Richard, great point, teacher. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I'm sharing that because I'm still learning this feature. And I say that because I know for me, live speaking is a good way to do things. So that's why I'm doing this going forward. I probably do less graphics, less other stuff that drains my energy. So knowing your branding tools and creating a branding toolkit will help you better tell your story. Other channels that you can use, obviously doing webinars, whether you want to host events or guest speak at events. Maybe you guys, some of y'all like to write. So maybe writing a think piece or a white paper might be a good thing. But the next thing is once you clarify your story, clarify your audience, you want to clarify your branding tools. So that's gonna be my last thing. And why, and remember when I talked in the beginning, I started with my goal of speaking. My goal of speaking was to build my audience because I want to have an audience of people who are hopefully enjoy what I'm doing, who can refer my business and refer my services. Two, my next call to action is to join my community because part of that process is having people in one place where they can like leverage my resources. Because one thing I do believe in, I believe in access to opportunities and access opportunities being having both free and paid for services. Now, I do think there needs to be a fee, and I say that because I know transformation comes when people invest in themselves, but I also believe that not everyone's in the position to invest in themselves. I understand that. So by having a free mechanism, like a place like a Facebook group, I can do that and have it where I have LinkedIn videos, I have public speaking videos, I have things in there that people can watch on demand. So I have people go there. So the purpose of this is I want to make sure that I talk about that and have people go there as my next step. So since I tell people to clarify your story, two, clarify your audience, three, clarify your branding tools, the next best thing is, hey guys, if you guys actually want to understand better on how to clarify your story, clarify your audience, and clarify your branding tools, why don't you go to my Facebook group? Because you know what? That's all I do is talk about that there. So do you understand? I don't know if anyone feels me, leave a chat, leave a post and say, I feel you. Because the idea is to tell a story or be interviewed that is goal driven, not vanity driven. I'm not here to talk just to talk. Because if that's the case, I could be talking on the phone with my girlfriend. I'd be talking on the phone with Shanisha. I don't need to be doing that. Well, I like to talk to you later. But do you understand that? If I'm speaking, it's for a goal. So I want you to start thinking now when you're doing public speaking opportunities, how do I speak for a goal and purpose? Whether that is to, recruit investors and my fund, or to advance my career, or to advance my business. But think about that. So literally all you need, index card, using my talking points, and maybe you might need more. Maybe you need multiple index cards. That's fine. But the key thing is to keep it simple so you can keep yourself moving. A lot of us get caught up on things being perfect, and that's why we don't take action. But you think by you taking no action, that's actually going to help you get ahead? You're playing yourself. You need to take action and start making some moves, because if you don't test things, you don't get better. For example, y'all see me testing out this live streaming service. I literally tried it for the first time yesterday because I want to get comfortable. And I know part of being comfortable is being uncomfortable first to try something new. And if I don't try it, I can't get better. So if I don't start with an index card, how am I going to do a whole keynote with nothing? Because I have to start somewhere. So the key thing is to keep it simple, take action, and invest in yourself. So literally, was it the 5 steps I was like, 1, set a goal. 2, create a call to action for after your speech, and then have 3 talking points, A, B, and C, that actually proves your thesis of why your call to action is the next best step. And there you go, as a talking point. So I don't know if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything, but that's my process. And if y'all check me later, you'll check me later at 1:00 p.m. You'll see that I'll be talking with Aang on their Instagram live about branding your story. If you want that, let me know, comment, let me know. I'll share the information. But the key thing is keep it simple, keep it goal driven, and then keep it pushing so that you're not so stuck on perfectionist that you're blocking your blessings and blocking your opportunities to brand your story and tell your story. So I hope you guys found that helpful. And definitely leave me your comments and questions if you're interested in learning more about this. But the key thing, like I said, is keep it simple and keep it moving. So thank you guys. I will talk to you later. And I'm looking forward so much to seeing y'all tomorrow on the first official day of my weekly show, which is Become an Industry Celebrity. I'll be talking all things personal branding, and literally tomorrow's episodes, WTF is personal branding. Because I know y'all are confused about personal branding because y'all send me your questions saying, what is personal branding? So I'm going to break it down to you what personal branding is, what it's not, And it's the 4 telltale signs you need to invest in your personal branding. So that's what I'm going to give you tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great day, and I'll talk to you then.